we're Kelly and Kelly, and we're back with a training tip for this week. A lot of people ask us about the 8 pieces of brocade. Once you learn all of the movements and the sequence of them, well, what do you do next? In our society, we're so used to seeing really small movements or motor patterns and then build on really, really big skills and more complex skills as somebody practices a sport or another activity. And that's how we kind of view our progression when we're learning something new. But with Qigong, specifically, we're talking about the 8 pieces of brocade Qigong. We're actually going from the outside in. We're learning all the really big movements first. And once you learn the movements, the sequence of them, and basically how to do them correctly, then the refinement begins. And that's when you can get into what your fascia is doing, how to keep your hands open, your shoulders down, how you can better your horse stance, and all of those kind of things. And Kelly is going to give us his view on that too.
Today on this episode, what we're going to get into is progression and refinement. And in arts like Qigong and Neigong, as in the deep tissue tendon work, and specifically martial arts and general movement arts such as Qigong, it is often misunderstood that by getting the big movements, the way Tai Chi is trained, that you have the whole package. Once you master the form, you actually have mastered the art as well. And this is an illusion in terms of a very superficial perception of what an art like Tai Chi or Qigong, a Qigong set, or an art like Bagua or Xingyi will actually give you. All arts, all physical movement arts, are a progression. And the arts of Tai Chi, Bagua, Xingyi, Qin, they all work at building from the outside in while you are building from the inside out at the same time. And by that, what I mean is that building from the outside in, they give you these big open movements, big, huge movements, big stretching movements to convey a full body feeling so that we become aware of the full range of motion that the body can go through and what that stretch feels like and what that engagement feels like in the hands all the way to the fingertips through bone alignment, fascia, and tendon engagement. And that is the beginning. With the progression inward or from the outside in, you are given things like standing stick, Jamzhong, and Qigong sets like the 8 pieces of brocade, the Baduan Jin, or in other circles, 18 palm, 18 lohan, where you have movement sequences that are designed to be repeated over and over and over and over again to develop a really, really profound level of refined awareness of the joints and the feeling in the joints when we move and the feeling in the tissues when we move, so that we have a very, very deep connection to the body and a very deep conscious connection to the actual engagement of the joints and the bones as movement and locomotion originators. This is really, really important to understand because in a lot of martial arts, you'll get fancy handitis where people get, oh, hey, there's my hand. It's like, oh, I'm doing something like really cool. And they will forget, they'll get involved in the movement, which is great. And they'll get really, really good at the movement, but they never give themselves the time to hold a posture and let themselves feel their body stabilize as you hold the posture longer and longer and longer and longer and longer so that you can slow down. And this is the big key, slowing down. By slowing down, we can give ourselves a deeper point of reference for connecting with our body, slowing the mind down, forcing the monkey mind to connect with the body and to be present with the body in the way that it's not used to, and break patterns of awareness so that we can be exceptionally disciplined and focused and connected to our physical reality as a primary space that we operate from. And this is very, very different from the normal sort of level of awareness or consciousness where we just move, we learn something, and we repeat it just to get through it, just to say that we put the time in. and not go any deeper, not learn how to listen to the tendons and the fascia and the joints, and not understand how to slow down and give ourselves that space of being slowed down and not just focused, but physically present, physically in our bodies, not just mentally going through the motions and going through the sequence of routine, but feeling our body rooted in the earth and being able to understand how the little movements and the small articulations of the body develop a very, very profound level of strength, refinement, conditioning, longevity in the body and the mind, and resilience and fortitude that is very uncommon unless you actually slow down. So, refinement of body awareness through slowing down is basically the key element or the key phrase that you want to focus on and learn how to apply that to yourself. Because the more you slow down, the more you take time to be focused in a way that is about being physically present, the more you change your mind, the more you change your body, the more you develop internal fortitude. And this is where, when you get the externals of the movements and you can feel the structure of the form or the qigong set of what you're doing, and you spend more and more time, like with qigong, you go slower, or you do more repetitions, or you hold the posture, you hold the movement, so that you force your mind to listen, you force yourself to listen, and more importantly, to feel, because you cannot tell your mind to slow down. You kind of have to force the full to slow down by forcing it to feel the physical body. And this is the primary way that you actually get into not just mental stillness or being, mentally present, but being physically focused and physically present by forcing the mind and your awareness to slow down and feel the body and force it to focus on feeling and nothing else.
So once you learn the 8 movements of the 8 pieces of brocade and you have all the larger movements, here are some ways that you can increase your awareness and your body conditioning. You can slow the movements down. You can do more repetitions of the movements other than what we do in class. You can adjust your horse stance. So you can do a small horse stance and make your horse stance a little bit larger and try to make it deeper as time goes on. You may not be able to do that right away, but slow and steady will keep you going in the right direction. You can also refine all of the movements once you learn them, making sure that your shoulders, your hands, your feet are in the proper positions. You can also open the hands and activate the fascia and concentrate on all the little nuances of all the movements while you're doing the larger ones. And this has been this week's training tip.